Welcome back to Harley Davidson Machine Shop. I am your host, Don Dyer, factory trained and certified Harley Davidson technician, December 11th, 1981. I've seen a lot of old Sportsters and a lot of old shovel heads. And what I got going is the old K-model Sportster type cases just before the Sportster. And I had to do some dowel pin relocating, and that's not something that they did at Harley Davidson whatsoever, but that is something that I added from my experience working on hydraulics, gearboxes, and things like that in the industrial arena. I was doing that stuff before I got involved with Harley Davidson, and that's one of the reasons I got talked into doing this kind of work by the factory regional representative. Kind of goes, tapped me on the shoulder, goes, "Hey, if you get in here and work a couple of years, I can get you into that school and certification." It sounded like a good deal to me, but I tell you what, motorcycle mechanics back then and probably now is terrible pain. But I think it was worth it. I learned a lot, and maybe you can benefit from some of the things I learned. Okay, let's have a look at those K-model cases. And they're over here. What I did is I switched these rotary tables out. I got the Yowzer 10-inch horizontal vertical, and I'll include a photo of some shovel head cases mounted to that. But the K-model or Sportster XL type cases are a little bit more of a challenge, and I kind of cobbled together some stuff that I think will work pretty good to center these cases onto that rotary table, making things easier. Now there's a lot of aftermarket engine vices and ways to hold crankcases, but having a machine shop like many of you do, we can use standard equipment, and of course a rotary table is very much a standard piece of equipment. Okay, now this is what I come up with. So I got a sleeve in here, and then I got this another sleeve here, and we'll get that on there. Then this is part of the XL lapping tool, factory tool made by Kent Moore, and we'll stick that piece in there. Get it worried in there, just like that. So here's the left case here. I'm going to have to put this on the camera stand, which is a Noga Big Boy. Okay, which is an indicator holder that also is a very good GoPro stand. So here's the left case, right here. Ta-da! I installed these studs here at the transmission end. A little bit of a chip in there, get that out of there. Okay, now there's a Timken bearing still in this, a double Timken bearing, left case main crankshaft bearing. It's a double Timken. So what I'm going to do, and you've seen me do this before, I'm going to put a piece of paper down. This is pretty thick paper, maybe cardstock thickness, and we'll stick that on there just like that. And that'll give it a little bit of traction, plus kind of protect this expensive rotary table. So I'm going to slip that on there just like that. Okay, next I'm going to put the other Timken bearing, install that, lock it down with the nut. And let me get that locked down. Okay, I'm going to probably have to somehow support this. So I'm going to bring a bolt all the way through this, and then I'll put the case. Let me see if I can get that so I don't lose it totally. And here's the right-hand case with the 3 dowel pins here, one there, that I relocated. Okay, you see that in the earlier videos. And then I'll put this on top here. Well, I'm going to knock that off. And that's how that's going to be mounted. I'm going to have a bolt coming all the way through, clamp on here and hold that down. The paper will help keep it from skidding, all right? So I will be back with that set up a little bit better. Okay, I've got the K-model cases mounted to the rotary table. It's a 10-inch Yowza rotary table in the vertical position, and there's just enough room on this machine to make this happen. Now, you can see here that it'll crank up that way, but I had to kind of slide the table my way just slightly to get, so I'll be able to fully level out the front cylinder, okay? See how easy that is? Now, generally, just for support, I'll stick a screw jack or 2 under here, just enough to keep it from sagging a little bit, and I'll dial in the surface of the left-hand case, and the right case will follow. So because of the dowel pin work I did, it squeezed these cylinders together. This is these openings, you know, the 2 Ks had to face them. Everything's looking good, but the cylinders are not going to fit in there. I have to bore that hole, and then I'm going to resurface these mount here, because the left case is a little bit taller. It's like that. But the important part is that the transmission main shaft and the main bearings for the crankshaft are in alignment. So I'll bring the cylinder surfaces square with the line of the crankshaft. You can see how I got that kind of locked in there. Locked in from behind with a bolt clear on through. Okay, I'm going to go see what Chloe's up to, and I'll be back for some machining. Well, that's what wiener dogs do. Okay, now I'm dialing in the front cylinder spigot here, and I got it dialed in the long ways, and of course this is the short distance here. So I'm just rotating that back and forth, and I got it in the right spot. It is centered. It is centered this way. So it's in there. I got the locks locked down here. Okay, I can remove the indical, or I should say a counterfeit version of it. Okay, now this boring bar here, you can see it's got a piece of brazed carbide in it, and I'll show you how it's fabricated, just like this. It's a hollowed piece of steel, and I've got this cutter below center and it's tilted up to meet center. Okay, actually you just drop it down, and then when it rotates the center, you got the angle. And I can show you how to do that on the drafting table if you so choose. Okay, so that's how that boring bar is. And the reason I do this is because I prefer the square heads. They have more bearing surface. They're more compact, but you got to make your own bars for them like this, see? And making it that diameter, it's requires less offset. And of course, these square boring heads, this is a Criterion S3, have just one hole in the center. So that's how I get away with that. So I will be back in a few, and I'll have this set up, and we'll start punching that hole. Okay, got that boring head running at 455. Seems to be pretty happy doing that. I've got some screw jacks under here to support it. Things like this tend to sag a little bit, and so I leveled it with these jacks. So we're going to do the front surface, cylinder surface bore, and the dimension is 2.994, and that'll give the cylinder sleeve, the protrusion at the bottom of the cylinder, 5 thousandths clearance, and that's pretty much standard. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of roll it down here, get it to touch and see if it's going to scream or do anything. It's tight, it looks good. Just about got contact here. I'm going to go kind of easy here. It looks like it's going to do okay. Yeah, it looks pretty happy. Nothing seems to be shaking. That's cutting pretty evenly. Humming a little bit. I'm gonna just drop the speed just a little. 398. Looking pretty good. It's a more number 2 jig bore, running at 396.8 RPM, and the feed is 8/10,000ths. Looking very good. Yeah. Now, they also use this method in the development department to fixture crankcases, and that's where I've seen them fixture the big twin cases. And I asked a lot of questions, and they were glad to give me the answers. Now I show that picture, that old mechanic and the young mechanic outside a shack. Now that old guy, he died with everything he knew. And he was a factory certified mechanic too. And he got certified during World War II. And that's how he ended up here. He was a Harley mechanic at the Army Air Corps base here during World War II. And that's how my dad ended up in Walla Walla from Douglas, Alabama. Just almost all the way through here. I showed you how those cutters are made. This one I even offset for a bigger haul. Real big haul. Almost done there. Sometimes these cases will fool you a little bit and you think you got it, but you didn't go all the way. I think it's looking pretty good. It's sounding good. I don't see any chips falling, so that's it. And we'll set it and cut again. Yeah, looking good, very good. Do a little quick check here. Got just enough room. Got a ways to go. Yeah, quite a ways. So I'm going to dial it in about 30 thousandths more. Get the brake. Get it out of gear here. Loosen that center one. I'm going to dial it in. 10. 20. 30, right there. There we go. Lock that center one. And I'm going to get a little bit of this cutting wax on there. My mixture of beeswax, Castrol Molly D. There's some Tap Magic in there. And a couple secret ingredients. You can put anything you want on this stuff. It works real good. Stays on the part. And it's not very messy. So get it back into gear. Here we go. Get it started. There it is. I'm going to slow her down a little. About 315. Let him drop it down just another notch. 280. Starting to sing a little bit. Just almost cutting all the way around now. My jacks are staying tight under there. Very nice. Nice finish. All right. Coming right along here. Yeah, the jig bore is a real easy machine to work with. There's a few rules, and the machine will let you know if it's not happy. It's kind of funny, you get these armchair experts, or I don't know where they come from or what they're doing, and they tell me I don't know how to grind cutters. Well, I'll tell you what, they don't know how to grind cutters for a more jig bore. And number one is they have to be sharp. Looking good. Looking real good. Yeah. Well, I have to tell you about Chloe, the little winter dog. She did dig out a gopher, and the gopher didn't make it. 270 RPM, that's pretty darn happy doing that. Still tossing chips around down in there. Yeah, I don't grind cutters for anybody except me. And I'm a tough customer. They gotta be sharp. Now, if this happened to be some XR 750 cases that I was piecing together, and I have pieced those together, you get busted crankcases, get them welded, and you have to do the same thing. But in that case, the engine cases are worth several $1,000s. More than these old K-model cases, they're not worth very much. Just about done there. Yeah, we're past. Crank it out. Yeah. Put that thing out there. Okay. I'm going to put it in neutral. We'll have a look here real quick. I think it's looking pretty good. You can see we're not quite there yet. Okay, we'll take a break and have a word from our sponsor, and I will have a drink of coffee and I'll be back. Alrighty, welcome back to the last cut. Now I'm just giving these 5 thousandths clearance. It looked like it had a little bit more than that, but 5 thousandths is enough. Okay. And we'll start it up. Got it set for the last cut. Put it in gear. It's in gear. Here we go. Right about there. And it's cutting. You can see that. Running at 271. Slightly squeaking, but it's fine. Looks like it's cleaning up pretty good. It's kind of fun doing these. It's been close to 20 years since I've done this. It's kind of a fun project. I kind of expect I'll probably pick up 900 Sportsters or two along the way and get them going. Because I'd like to pick up some of these motorcycles that are messed up and get them going and trade them or sell them. Looking great. Very good. Yeah. You get right in the action there. Yep, that's a Moore number 2 jig bore. You can tell they're 8 feet tall. Weigh 4,000 pounds. I replaced the spindle bearings in this about 30 years ago, and they're still hanging in there. If you find a Moore jig bore, you want to make sure run it for a while, run it at the top speed, and if you feel any warmth here, after running it about 10-20 minutes, then you know you're going to have to do spindle bearings. And you can pick up these things for $100 likely, but those spindle bearings are going to cost you $2,000. And then you got to fit them. I talked about that in one of the videos on the DD channel. That's I'm going to put a little bit of this on that channel. just using these boring heads. Now after this is punched out, I'm going to use a Wallhopter automatic facing head. And if you don't have something like that, you can use a fly cutter and fly cut that. But using the Wallhopter head, it'll make it look like it and be like it's lathe turned. And the Wallhopter head does cut like a lathe, and I'll explain that when I get the head on here in the next video. We'll get this punched out and call it a video. Now I'm not going to move the case. I'm going to leave it just like it is and do the facing. Then I'll rotate the case 45 degrees and get it dialed in and do the exact same thing and then face it. And these cases are a long ways to being done. There's a lot of little things I have to do yet. Just about punching through here. Let's see, I don't know, I'm just about through. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'll drag that out of the hole. Get it out of gear. Oh, pull it out. There it is. Yep, it looks good. Now see, this right case was just leaning forward a little bit. You can see just a little bit it didn't cut there. You don't want to overcut stuff. It doesn't need to be absolutely cleaned up there. Has all the clearance it needs. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for the donations. It really helps a lot. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow.